Today, I'm going to tell you why my favorite pocket operator feature might not be what you expect. Freebeat. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shout-out goes to Danny Vinks. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. So, the Teenage Engineering Pocket Operators, I absolutely love them. I think if you've been following the channel for any extended amount of time, you probably know that by now. They are affordable, they are great at throwing together little sequences, and in some case, full-on songs, like with the PO33 or 133, or the PO20 Arcade, the Mega Man, most of them can come up with full tracks if you're creative enough. They're a fantastic creative outlet. They're a great entry point into not just electronic music, but music in general for beginners. They're also just fantastic for experienced musicians, such as myself. I've been an acoustic drummer for over 20 years now, and the PO33, this is the 133 here, but the 33 was my real entry into electronic music, and that's kind of what started this whole channel and everything for me. And of course, while some of you don't like how they sound, there are, I think, maybe a lot more people who really do dig the sound of them. Remember, that's all subjective, but if you're into chiptune and sort of, like the lo-fi sample aspect of the PO33 or 133, they're just a fantastic value. However, none of those features are my favorite, and I don't think I've ever fully talked about this before. My favorite pocket operator feature is the immediacy of which you can pick up and play them. So, as someone who is in the transition process of turning YouTube into his career, I find myself more busy than I've ever been, and not in ways you'd think. You'd think, having a music-related YouTube channel, you'd think I'd always be making music and sitting at this desk or the one behind me and always working on music, but that is not the case. I'd say I only spend about 20 to 30% of my time working on music, and that might be a stretch. Most of my time is spent at the computer, editing videos, uploading videos, responding to comments. That's on my phone, but, doing emails, and the non-glamorous things like that. And of course, that means I'm not here in the studio, or even at the old apartment. I was not at the filmmaking, the recording, the music making workspace. I was at the computer. But of course, I've always got musical ideas going around in my head. That's, as a musician, the more you play music, that you're just going to start to realize that's what happens. Music just starts to live there, whether it's, singing someone else's piece or, humming a little ditty that you came up with. It's going to start happening, and it might already happen to you. Pocket operators, I have found, are the fastest way for me to get the music from up here into a device as fast and as seamlessly as possible. Now, of course, that's one of the great things about acoustic instruments. This is an electric bass, but you get the idea. You can still hear it. With something like this, or a piano, an acoustic guitar, what have you, or an electric guitar, even a drum set, I can sit down and, just kind of bang something out. That's actually where the bass line for Ghost in the Galaxy came from. I was working on something completely unrelated, and I just kind of heard that line in my head, grabbed the bass, and you also might recognize that it's the little intro riff in the clip at the beginning of every video on this channel. But of course, without recording said instrument, that melody or whatever you had in your head isn't necessarily committed anywhere. You have to still try and commit it to memory. Playing it definitely helps, but with the pocket operators, you can actually input that into a device that will hold that in an actual memory for you. So now let's talk about how the pocket operators are so immediate. Well, they run on a pair of AAA batteries, there is no boot up time at all, and they have an onboard speaker, so you can instantly hear the sounds and get feedback. This is going to sound really silly, but one of my biggest complaints with the OPZ and the OP1, which are more offerings from Teenage Engineering that are small, compact music-making devices, is the boot up time. It still takes about, 5 to 10 seconds to boot up those devices. The OP1 can be a little longer than that, I think, sometimes. But those 5 to 10 seconds when you have something fresh in your head really matter. Even though it might sound like they don't, it really does make all the difference. So I could go from, let's say I'm working at something here on the computer, I can hear something in my head, I can grab the Mega Man, and just with the onboard speaker, Yeah, let's go ahead and throw that down. And there we go. The idea is committed onto a device. It is saved in there. I can simply just set it aside now and get back to whatever I was doing. And that, at least for me, is completely unrivaled by any other electronic music device out there. Everything else I've used has a boot up time or some sort of, project management where I have to pull up a new project. There's just nothing else this immediate. And for me, that's worth the price of entry alone, let alone all the other things you can do with these pocket operators. The ability to just pick one up and play is phenomenal. Do the same with like a drum beat. Let's say I hear something in my head like doo-goo-doo-goo-dat, doo-goo-dat, doo-goo-dat, doo-goo-doo-goo-dat. Nice and basic. Doo-goo-doo-goo-gat, doo-goo-dat, doo-goo-dat, doo-goo. Yeah. There we go. Cool, just like that. I've got it down. It's on a physical device. I can set it aside and come back to it later. That's why, if you've ever seen any of my behind-the-scenes videos, like on Patreon or anything like that, even at the computer out in the living room where I do most of my editing, I always have a pocket operator sitting there, ready to go, so I can jot down ideas. It's just that simple. And I just wanted to make this video because I've seen a lot of people starting to complain about the pocket operators lately. Oh, they don't sound good, and they're overpriced for what they are, and why would you get that when you can get a Volca for a little bit more? Well, for me, my favorite reason is instantaneous feedback, the ability to pick up any pocket operator and just start going for it. Nothing else comes close to that. If there is something else out there that does, let me know because I would be very interested in it. Again, zero boot up time. They're just always on, ready to go, and the battery lasts for quite a while, and yeah, they're just fantastic for that instantaneous feedback. That's the key phrase I'll keep coming back to. So I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video. If not, you can always leave a dislike. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.